welcome back. Now, I've just had to call the local county council out because, as you can see from the weather forecast there, it's just about to start raining. And I remember from last time it rained, I had some flooding issues down here because this drain down here seems to be getting blocked. So I've had to call the county council out to come and dig out the trench a bit more for me to stop these paddocks from flooding. Now, before anyone asks me in my comments, no, the map doesn't actually allow for these paddocks to be flooded as this ditch here gets filled with stuff. It's just another way I have of spending money that I don't have on things that I don't need. Like spending money on renting the digger and the truck and trailer over there. Just to play along with the storyline a bit, but it helps me spend money that I don't have. I mean, I'm still a good $200,000 in debt because of the $500,000 improvements that I mentioned in my last video, and I shall show you that in a few moments as well. Yeah, fast forward time a wee bit there to get the rain starting, and then so just clearing out this ditch here. Managing to do a reasonably good job with that from the looks of things. Getting it all unblocked. Now, let's go along and clear it out a bit more along here as well. Now, I have had time to rake the grass, as you can see, but of course it's about to start raining again, so I'm going to have to go back and turn the grass over at least once more, probably a couple of times more after the rain has finished. But that's a problem for later this day or maybe the next day, depending. Okay, let me shut this off and I will, if I can hop out without getting my feet wet, I'll take you and show you the big improvement or the big change that I've done to the farm. So, let's get out of here. And go down there if I can show you the big change I've been working on. I've had to turn the traffic off for the time being because that truck, the Arctic Race truck back there, even though it's parked quite a long way off the road, it still seems to be fouling with the traffic, so it was just causing a big traffic jam. So I thought, no, I'll just turn the traffic off for this video perhaps, and I'll turn it back on again afterwards. Okay, so if we hang a left here, of course heading right there would be heading towards our farm. We're going up this road instead. You may catch a bit of a glimpse over the hedge on the right hand side as to what I've been doing. And here we go. So I own this paddock and the one next to it. I didn't actually intend to own these two paddocks, but they came as a group with the two paddocks next to them. I wanted the paddocks next to them for cows. So as you can see, what I've done here, I've put in grapevines as far as the eye can see pretty much. And these grapevines were not cheap to put in. I've also put in an extra little shed here and bought some equipment. So we'll just go over what I've done here. So this shed does have opening doors and things, and I think it even has working lights inside of it from memory. No, maybe not. I don't think I want to work. Oh, it's definitely got opening doors anyway. So it's just an old shed. I was originally looking for an equipment shed to put some of this grape equipment in that I've got, but I couldn't find one the size I liked. So I've got the old Massey 35 here. Now this tractor brings the number of tractors I've got up to 6 now. Yep, so I've got the Massey 35, the little International, the little David Brown, 2 Fords and the Fiat Agri. So it's an awful lot of tractors for this farm, but that's all tractors I like. And when I decided before that I had too many, PA Ploughman told me there's no such thing as too many tractors on a farm. So I bought this. I may end up having to sell that later. I'm not sure whether it's going to have the power to work these, but I've got the little what was this one called? Just going to check. I can't remember what it's called now. Mulcher. That was it. So this is a little mulcher for doing down the grapevines. I've got the pruner here to prune the greenery off the grapes, and I've got the Hardy fertiliser sprayer also for doing grapes. So in fact I'll just shut the Land Rover off here and I'll show you. Let's go for a little drive in the Massey here. So show you down here. If you head down here, you notice I have got a roll bar on this Massey because my grapes are planted on a hillside here, so I didn't want to risk rolling the tractor with no roll bar on it. So what I've done is I've done the vineyards. I'll just go to the map for a second so I can demonstrate. If I go down here, so basically I did lengthwise of the whole field, but then I cut through a strip through the middle here. You can see that strip here, which I just want to clear a strip so that if the harvester gets full halfway down a row or something, I don't have to drive down a whole row to go and empty it. I only have to drive down half a row at the most. Now the earth along the strip here between the two sort of loads of vines, that's painted on. Now I'm not certain yet. I have done grapes once before, but it was a very, very long time ago. And I think from memory I might have to do that painted earth all around the grapes as well. So like at the moment, if you look just to the left of the tractor here, I've got grass growing, which is actually planted grass, not painted. But I think when I use the mulcher, it kind of damages that grass, especially the ends of the rows here. So if memory serves me right, I'm going to end up having to paint that same earth that I've got on the strip in the middle down at the ends here, and probably just do all of the bits of paddock that aren't along here. But that actually looks like it probably needs mulching already. Let's just go and check here. Green there's growing. Blue is according to this, it doesn't look like it needs mulching according to that, but I'm pretty sure that it does, because the grass down these strips shouldn't get as long as what it is. I think that needs mulching now because of how long that is, although it's not showing that it does. I might just chuck the mulcher down it later anyway. As you can see, this tractor's got hardly enough power to pull the tractor on its own without anything on the back. What I'm hoping is that this tractor will have enough power to pull the mulcher and things down the hill. It definitely won't have enough power to pull it all up the hill, but if I can pull it down the hill, then I can lift it and drive back up to the top of the hill again to go down the next row, and so on and so forth. That's what I'm hoping to achieve. The problem I was having with the tractors is finding one that was both old enough for the farm, because I've got the farm set in the mid to late 80s. I couldn't have like a fairly New Holland or something like that for this, so I wanted a tractor that was very, very small to fit between the vines, but also old enough to fit in with the farm, and it had enough power to pull the equipment. And I found some small, newer tractors that had enough power, but nothing really old enough. So yeah, I can see right now, based on how much this tractor's struggling just on this bit of hill here, we're definitely going to have some trouble with that, I think. But hopefully, as I said, it'll manage the mulcher and things going downhill, and it just won't manage to do them uphill, in which case I'll end up having to run everything down the vineyard from the top of the hill up there down to the bottom, then lift the equipment and drive back up the hill to get to the top again, and then run down the next row, and so on and so forth. And it will take a bit longer doing it that way, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind if it takes a bit longer. But yeah, this track is really not liking this hill at all. I've got absolutely nothing on the back. Look at how it's dug in there. We could have been a spot of bother here. I might have to get a tow rope to pull that up. Let's see if I can. Yeah, even in low, just not liking that at all. Okay, managing it okay now. Yeah, we're getting up there. It's going to take a bit. You can see why when I'm working the grapevines, working the vineyard, I'm going to always be doing it downhill and not uphill. You can see from this why I'm going to do that. Anyway, I thought I would tell a little story during this video as well. And this story is about a funny incident that happened during a not very funny tide in New Zealand. Now, to start with, something I've got to explain to you is that although America is known as the land of the free, here in New Zealand, if you live in Wellington City, our capital, you can wander down to Parliament grounds in your lunch break and actually sit in Parliament grounds to eat your lunch. There are a few security guards wandering around, but you're more than welcome to enter the grounds and sit there on the lawn and eat your lunch. I have a bit of a laugh to myself, you know, with America, the land of the free, because I'm sure if you wandered down to the White House and, well, I know there's big fences and gates and things around the White House to prevent people from accessing it. I'm sure if you went up to one of the security guards and said, oh, I'd just like to go and sit on the front lawn of the White House to eat my lunch during my lunch break, they'd have something to say to you, and it might not be something terribly nice. In fact, they might even take down your name, and you might get a visit from men in black suits later on in the day or something, who knows. So I do have a bit of a laugh at that. Anyway, New Zealand, Parliament grounds is open to the public, and anyone can wander down there and sit there and eat their lunch. There's even a children's playground that kids can go down slide and things on. Yeah. Now, this is where it gets to a time that isn't a good time, which was September 11. During just after the September 11 attacks, the security in New Zealand, someone somewhere obviously decided that they had to pick up security a wee bit around Parliament, just in case someone got the idea to do something silly here in New Zealand. So all of a sudden, when previously you could drive a car into Parliament grounds or walk on there to eat your lunch, if you wanted to drive your car in there into the grounds, all of a sudden they had security guards that were armed with little mirrors on the end of the pole, on the end of a stick. And what they'd do is they'd stop you as you tried to drive onto the Parliament grounds, and put this mirror underneath your car on the end of the stick, and check that there were no explosives strapped to the bottom of your car. Now, and they'd never ever done this before. It only happened after September 11, and they stopped doing it again now. So it was more for show than to really achieve anything seriously. I mean, to put it into perspective, first of all, if you were intent on strapping explosives into your car and trying to blow up Parliament buildings, I don't think you'd strap explosives to the bottom of your car. You'd put them, I don't know, under the floor where the spare wheel goes or something like that. I don't know, I'm not an explosives expert, but I don't think you'd strap them to the bottom of your car. And to be perfectly honest, the mirrors on the ends of sticks that these security guards were using, they could only check the outer, under the sills at the very edge of your car anyway. If you'd strapped something in next to the drive shaft, there's no way they could have seen that in the mirror. And to be perfectly frank, I don't think these security guards even really knew what they were looking for. Unless you got, say, some maybe some cardboard tubes like you get out of the middle of toilet rolls or paper towels, paint them bright red, and maybe even go to the extent of writing TNT in big letters on them. They really wouldn't know what to do. And I mean, as I said, I'm no explosives expert or anything like that, but I've got to be honest that, surely even if you were stupid enough to want to strap something to the bottom of strap some explosives to the bottom of your car, the very first thing you'd do is cover them in grease and then go for a drive down a gravel road so they're all covered in dust and muck and just blend in with all the rest of the bottom of your car. So, this whole looking at the bottom of your car with the mirrors on the end of the sticks, it really was all just for show. And I wouldn't do this because I don't want to get in that kind of trouble. It was actually kind of tempting in a way to joke about, if you did get some rolls of cardboard, paint them red, like TNT and big letters on the side, strap them to the side of the car and then go and drive down there so you can just see the security guard's expression when they're running the mirror along the underside of your car and they see these big sticks of TNT on there. Well, I think we've just established now I'm definitely going to have to get a bigger tractor than that one, because that one can't even make it up this hill in the wet. I will try again the dry first though, because obviously I won't be doing any grape work in the wet, so if it's just the weather that's preventing that tractor from getting up there, and that's not a biggie. But if the tractor can't get up there even in the dry, then that will be an issue that I'll have to deal with somehow. Either give that tractor a bit more power, or have a look around for a different tractor to use in my vineyards. I'm not sure what to do with that yet, but we'll play it by ear. Well, that was the funny story I want to tell you about security guards down at Parliament Grounds in New Zealand and things, and I wanted to show you what I've done. As I said, this vineyard, okay, there's an awful lot of grapes there, an awful lot, and I suspect it's going to make me a lot of money at the first harvest, even though I'll have to hire equipment to harvester. I suspect there's still going to be a lot of money in that, because that's a lot of vineyard grape vines. But that was for those grapevines, plus this little bit of equipment you see to the left, to the right of me, and that red tractor down there, and the tractor was only like 6k, and that little building was 500,000 for all that, and so the majority of that was the vines. So those vines, hopefully they produce a decent amount of grapes and a decent amount of money for me, but certainly they're very, very expensive to put in if you're looking at doing any decent size of them. If you want to do a very, very small vineyard, you might be fine, but yeah, to put in a decent amount like I've done here is not cheap at all. So just thought I'd tell you, from memory, and as I said, I have done grapes once a long time ago, but it was a very long time ago, and if my memory serves me correctly, you don't get a lot of money from them. So it will be interesting to see after my first harvest just how much I've got, just to sort of get some idea of how much it would cost, or how long it would take to recoup your costs of $500,000. So yes, there's $500,000 worth of grapes, you see, and I will keep you informed when I do my first harvest as to how much money I get for them, just out of interest's sake, to see sort of what sort of outlay. So I know with the cows, I mean, from a purely financial perspective, if we ignore doing things for enjoyment's sake and look at just financial side of things, it is not worth having a dairy farm in this game. It takes forever to pay off the cost of the cows. In fact, one of the problems I've got at the moment is that my herd is now 4 years old, and by the time that herd's 5 years old, I'm going to have to replace all the cows, because that's what I want to do. I want to replace them every 5 years, and the cost of the cows is going to be astronomical to replace them. I suppose what I could have done is kept a lot more of my calves than I have, so that they grow to become the new herd, but it takes a long time for a calf to actually become a milk producing cow, because they've got to get to the stage where they can reproduce, which I think from memory is 18 months, but we can double check that. I think if I go, I'd have to go to one of the animal things to, actually I can probably do that. I don't know how long this video has been running for, because I forgot to set my timer. Well, let's just go and have a quick look here. Okay. And my driving is atrocious today. But, come on. Okay, back on the gravel road. don't know what caused it to freeze then. I don't normally get those freezes like that, but one just then. I hope it's not my because I've got so many grapevines that's causing that. So if it is, I might have to rip it all out again. I don't really want to do that after spending $500,000 on it. But let's just see. Okay, so let's just jump in here for a second. So I go over to here and press the animal dialog box. So that's, yeah, so it's 18 months before a cow can begin breeding, it can get pregnant, and then it's 10 months before it calves, and then so you're looking at 28 months from a newborn calf to having a cow that can produce milk. So that's why I haven't sort of been keeping my calves to replace my breeding stock with that way. And as you saw when we were in the dialog box just there, so to buy a cow that's already able to produce milk, so that we're looking at this one here for that, that's $4,000. So 4025 for one cow. So by the time I've replaced my whole herd, I've got 40 cows at the moment. So let's have a look. That would be 4025 times 40. So I'm looking at $161,000 to replace my herd. And as you can see, I just do not have that kind of money at the moment at all. I've got a $200,000 overdraft still at the moment. I've got $6,000 there. So yeah, we're in some fairly serious financial pull at the moment, but we'll deal with it somehow. Okay, well that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for joining me. Bye.